Good day, everyone. We are the Calm Mind Tutors. In today's session, we'll be looking at the arc command. And we'll be going through these different ways of how to draw an arc. And this ways depends on what information you have. Like if you have the center, you have the radial, the starting point, you have the end point, you have the angle, you have the length. So any of this is useful depending on the information you have. So we'll be going through these different ways on how to draw an arc. And also remember that you can support our channel in any way you can, so we could produce more and quality videos. You can reach out to me if you want to support us through the WhatsApp, and you can get the WhatsApp number in the description below, or as you watch on this video, you see the WhatsApp number pop out on the screen. So without waste of much time, let's start. So the first one is 3 points. The 3 points means that actually you know 3 places where you want the arc to touch. So you know 3 places you want the arc to touch. So you click on those 3 places or points and you make an arc. So let's actually make a point. I click that, then we make another point because we're making 3 points. Okay, then another point, something like this. So if you highlight, you see that we have the 3 points made. So if I come to the arc, click on the 3 points command. This is the first point, this is the second point, and this is the third point. So actually you see we have made this arc using the 3 points command, because we actually know the 3 points where we want the arcs or the arc actually to touch. So okay, so another way to visualize this is this. Let's say this is a line. Okay, then I make another line, and I can actually, let me come up a little bit high. Okay, something like this. Okay, so I can actually want to make an arc that will touch these 3 lines. So where this actually is, where you can actually see this, is for civil engineers who actually want to design a parapet. So this could be handy. It is an easier way for you to draw the arc. If I click this, it said specify the first point, which is this. Specify the second point. You click this and it says specify the third point. So we have made this, and this is one of the ways you can actually draw your arcs when you are trying to design a parapet and other things I didn't draw looking in this manner. Okay, that is for the 3 points. So we'll move on to the next one, which says the start point, center point, and end point. So this one we actually ask you to specify the starting point where your arc should start, and the second one is you should specify the center and the end. So for me to continue to actually illustrate those commands, I would like to draw a triangle, a right angle triangle. Okay, let's say this is this, and then this one we have something like this. So I'll be using this right angle triangle to illustrate at that point. So we start on the second one, which says the start point. So if you look at the cursor, that is the plus sign below it, you say the instruction says you should specify the start point of the arc. So I want this to be the starting point of the arc. I click on that, then you say I should specify so I'll be using this rectangle triangle to actually illustrate other points. So I'll be starting the second one. We'll be looking at the start, center, and end. So if you look at the cursor, it is actually saying you should specify the start point. So I say this is my starting point, and the second one says, the second instruction says specify the center points of the arc. So if you come up here, the triangle symbol shows that means I'm at the center or the midpoint of this line. I click on that point, and it's saying and I should specify the end point. So I click on this, and we have actually made an arc which is now a semicircle, okay. Let's do it now. Let's repeat that again. I specify the center point, specify the starting point, the center point, then the end point. Maybe I want the arc to stop here, then I click here, then we actually stop that. So actually we drew the arc in that manner. Okay, so let's say I'm coming from this, let's say this is my starting point, then this is the center, and this is my end point. If you observe that when I'm coming from up down, my arc goes in the left hand side, and when I'm coming from down up, the arc goes in the right hand side. So what if I want this arc here? Let's say I'm coming from up down, and this is at the left hand side, and I want the arc to go to the right hand side. What should I do? I will click on my keyboard, I'll click on shift, hold it, sorry, not shift, sorry, I will click on control, hold it, then the arc will move to the right hand side. Let's do that again. I'll click on control and hold the control key, then I'll now move my mouse. You see that it has moved to the right hand side, but if I should leave the control, it will go back to the left hand side. To move it to the right hand side, I hold my control, and this is what I have. Okay, just this is all about your time and your hard working, and just have to devote time, practice, and you see yourself in a different level. Okay, so this the third point, which is saying that you have start, center, and angle. So that means you must know the center, you must know your starting point, you know your center, and you know your angle. So where you can mostly see this kind of a thing is, you'll be wondering, where will I be drawing an arc and I have to specify an angle? For a civil, sorry, I'm always saying civil engineer. Actually, I'm a civil engineer, okay? A civil engineering student actually. So I specialize in civil. So that is why I always make examples using civil engineering. For the mechs, for the electronics and other discipline of engineering, I'm sorry for not actually, mentioning your department or give an example where it is applicable in your department. You just have to bear with me for that. I specialize in civil. So for a civil engineer who wants to design a curved staircase, or the normal way you call it is spiral staircase, I don't know if you guys have heard of that. So if you have not heard of it, you can make a research: curved or spiral staircase. So in case you want to make that kind of staircase, you have to know your starting point, you have to know your angle, that is the angle the staircase have to undergo. So it's out of this case. So I have the starting point, I have the center, and it is now saying specify. I should specify my angle. I should specify my angle. So let's say 90 degree. So I enter 90 and click. You see, this is where the arc stops at an angle of 90 degree. So this is the starting point. This is the starting point. Here, this is the center. So from the center, because the angle is always taking. Okay, let me use this line to demonstrate what I'm saying. So this is where your 0 degree is, because it's the starting point. That is where you are starting your arc, and you come up to this place is 90 degree. When you come up to this place, you have 180. When you come up to this place, you have 270. So let's say that. Let's show that. So we have start, center, and angle. We have start. We specify the center, and it's asking which angle. We have 180. So you now have this as a semicircle, because you are starting from here, which is the 0 degree, and run up to 180. Let's say you have 270. So you start, specify the center and 270 degree. You come up to this side. So that is one beauty about that command. So the next one is start, center, length. That means you must know your starting point, you must know the center and the length. So the question is, what actually is this length? What is it, the length of the arc or what? So let's go, let's see actually what the length is. So I have this as my starting point, this is my center. Click on this, and it's asking me to specify my center, and it's asking me to specify the length. So let's enter a length of 500 mm. Enter. So this is the arc, but what actually is that length that I entered? So let's say I use the command. Let me use the command line. Click from here to this place. Okay, then so if you look at this here, you can see the 500 mm I entered, which is the same length as that of the straight line. So the length you are asked to enter is the length of the chord. The length of the chord, that is what you are asked to enter. So as you can see from that line is actually the 500 mm I entered. So that means you must know your center, you must know your starting point, and you must know the chord of that arc you want to draw, the circle actually, because once it has a chord now it's a circle because of this here, but actually it's an arc when you remove that straight line. Okay, that is that one. Then you come down to start, end, and angle. Let's say I have this now. This is my starting, this is my end. Then what should be my angle? Remember, you have to be between my starting point. If you look at this, look at where my angle is being taken from. Look at where the angle is being taken from. So So from the starting point, the angle is being measured. So let's say I enter 90 degree, and you actually have made an arc. So you see that most of these things are not actually, most of these commands are not actually necessary, but in case you come across a drawing that requires this kind of command, actually you should be able to know which command you should use and work freely with the AutoCAD. So the next one is center, end, and this one, start, end, and direction. Start, end, and direction. So when I click on this is my start, this is the end. Then how do I want to go this way, or do I want to go this way? So that is just this command is all about. So, and that is all for that. So the next one, it said the start, end, and radius. Let's have the start, end, and radius. So maybe I have the radius of that arc. So let's say I want to draw it for that of 440. Okay, let me use 100 mm. Enter. So, okay, let's use a radius of 500. So, and enter. So that means you must actually know the radius of the arc in order for you to use that command. Okay, so that is for that one. Next one is your start, your center, start, and then so it's the same as this one here. It's just that the stuff is being rearranged again. Here we have start, center, and then here we have center, start, and you see the same thing. So there's no need of showing this once again. You just know that you have to know the center, you know the. Okay, let's just do that. You have the center. They say specify the start point, which is this, and specify my end. And specify the end. You have something like this. So it's the same thing we did here, but just different rearrangement. This also is the same thing, but different rearrangement. So there's no need of showing this again. And also this is this again, which is still the same length of arc. So there's no need of showing that again. So before we end it for today, let me quickly show you something. I want to draw a triangle using an arc. So I'll use command start, center, and end. So this is my center, this is the center, this is the center. If you look at this now, if I should start from here, going this way, so I click here to be my starting point, then I draw this, and here to be the end. So I click on that same command again. This is the center. I come here, wait for some seconds, I move up, click here to be my starting point, and see, it's not actually going the way I actually want. So I have to hold my control key to make what I want. Then I draw this here. So from here, I'll now use the line to join these points together, and you're actually drawing a triangle. So you can actually do this on your own, practice more on that. So that is all for the arc command. And please remember to always like, subscribe, and share to your friends. Thank you.